Welcome to the SaaS Revolution show. I'm your host, Alex Theuma, and today we have a slightly different SaaS Revolution show than usual, but I think one perhaps arguably the most important SaaS Revolution show that we've done to date over the last 6 years. Usually we're talking about business growth, how we can help founders grow their SaaS businesses. But today I've invited two guests over, two Ukrainian founders, to talk about what's happening in Ukraine and what we can do, what the audience that's listening can do, what you can do. So stick with us. This is an important episode. We want SaaS companies, investors to come together. There's going to be some important information coming through today. So I'd like to welcome my guests, who are the co-founders of PromoRepublic. We've got Max Pecherskyi and Val Grabko. Welcome, guys. Really kind of, appreciate in difficult times that you've agreed, to come onto the podcast, but to really kind of, for us to help, give you the platform to get this message across. So welcome both.
Yeah, thanks a lot for inviting us and initiating this podcast and giving us kind of the stage to address other SaaS founders.
Yeah. No. So look.
Thanks, Alex.
The obviously the tone of the podcast, I think, is very much a serious one today. But as we say, the information is going to be super useful, and we ask people to act. SaaS communities should stick together. I think we often have. It's something that I've loved about SaaS. One of the reasons that I'm in it. And here's a time where we can really get together and help the people of Ukraine. So, Max, tell me just a little bit of intro to yourself. Where are you based? Maybe even a little bit about PromoRepublic, and then same question to Val as well.
Yeah, sure. So I'm a co-founder and CEO of PromoRepublic. It's a marketing technology SaaS with customers mainly, like in this case, luckily from the US and English-speaking Europe. I'm based in Helsinki for already 4 years, and I'm also a SaaStock local city leader for Helsinki, and we both with Val are leading SaaStock local for Kiev.
Thanks, Max. And Val?
Yeah, I'm also co-founder and responsible for operations. And we have third co-founder who is CTO of the company. And yeah, we are lucky that we are like Finnish Ukrainian company with customers over the globe, like mostly in Europe and US. Yeah, so we just want to share what's going on in with Ukrainian businesses and SaaS companies and what to do in this situation.
Yeah, exactly. Let's start with that. So if you can explain what is happening, what is really happening, what are you seeing, as Ukrainians, and then what is the feeling right now? And, please help us understand that.
Yeah. So because significant part of our team are Ukrainians and are based in Ukraine, and including Val, who is now in Ukraine, we know exactly what is happening. So you don't have to have any doubts about what's happening. So it's a full-blown war with a lot of fear, panic, and so I don't need to double click on that. So the situation is very, very bad and develops really, really fast. It's day 8 of full-blown military operation, and decisions have to be made really fast by the ones who support and want to really help. So now it's maybe 3 days already too late to post any messages about how are you? Are you good? So everyone who is in Ukraine is really bad. So there's no question about it. The question is rather how I can help you and acting.
Val, anything to add to that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I can say that, additionally to being a manager, top manager of the company, now we are all playing a role for our team members, as as the coordinators, and helping them to relocate. This is what we spend like all like beginning of the war, and now we're still helping them to be safe. This is our first priority. Start doing from the first hours, and this is kind of what we encourage as a companies in Ukraine continue being kind of leaders and helping their leaders to be leaders for their departments to support the safety, right? And like first is the kind of money and the shelters and the relocation kind of to the west of Ukraine and outside of Ukraine. So this is number one priority that we're doing. And of course, second is business continuity, right? So because we need to pay salaries, and even though we are like a venture company, have some investment, we still kind of dependent on the customers and sales, monthly sales, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, look, just to add to that, I've spoken to a number of non-Ukrainian founders throughout this week that have large, amounts of their development team or team members in Ukraine. And something that kind of struck me was that, this business continuity, like the teams are carrying and continuing to work because the businesses must go on, because if you stop, then it's a challenge. But working in the conditions of a war happening around you, that must be, kind of strikes me as just incredible and like, very kind of tough. I mean, for you as leaders, what is the feeling there, and for your team, as well?
Yeah, I mean, the team members in Ukraine are just amazing. So, I mean, everyone is, as you said, so there's, okay, so I'll not be there. There are sirens and I have to go to the bomb shelter. But they continue to communicate and help others to relocate or do some business task. And I think that the thing that they have something to do, and this kind of unity of the team members, because anyway, we're spending most of our time during work, right? And if situation changed like it changed right now, so you have to kind of fill this time with something. And of course, you get additional tasks to what you typically do, like concerned with the safety of your team members and supporting our country to protect the independence. And a lot of people are involving in helping each other and facilitating donations and doing everything they can to kind of help Ukraine to protect its independence. And I think it's also more and more important now for Ukrainian businesses, even than the business tasks. So safety, like protecting the country, and the third is business continuity, to continue like paying out salaries and contributing to the economy, paying taxes, etc. But the team members are really amazing. Team leads are taking and keeping the leadership and take care of their sub teams. And for founders, it's very important and challenging. And once again, PromoRepublic is affected. However, there are companies that are much more effective. Companies that had their Russia as their market. Companies that had 100% of their team members in Ukraine or in some specific city like Kharkiv that is having very tough times right now. So and for SaaS leaders, it's very challenging. And Ukrainian entrepreneurs and founders are showing amazing activity in terms of kind of coming up with ideas how to fight the propaganda and bring over the information, how to save businesses, how to save their people. And that's uncoordinated with each other, so on their own. But now the coordination starts to happen. And we are in SaaS business. We have best marketers. We have best advertising people. We have best content writers. We have best designers. Imagine if we can unite all the skills and talent together to kind of, to do actions that will help to resolve the situation as fast as possible, how impactful this is. So that's what I encourage, especially companies that are having less challenges with the safety of their team members. If they want to help, they should coordinate. And I hope that SaaStock can also play a facilitator role in that.
No, absolutely. I think I may have mentioned to you, like, in the first day or so, of the invasion, it was obviously very hard, very sad to see this, and that there was a kind of feeling of helplessness, right? What can I do if Putin and the Russians are coming into Ukraine? Like, how can I contribute, in the UK? And then you kind of actually start to see, and we've seen some, great people and entrepreneurs on LinkedIn and on social really, kind of drive action, which I think it was also kind of inspiring. And then to kind of ask, I reached out to you, Max, and was like, what can we do, to help? And your advice was around, obviously getting behind, showing your support strength, donations where we can, acting and like moving away from this feeling of helplessness that we can't, do anything because it's happening in Ukraine, right? And we're here in UK or we're in the US or wherever, but actually, like, this is the impact that we can make. And I think you make the point in SaaS. We talked about such great community, the best marketers, some amazing entrepreneurs, and if we can come together, we can coordinate how impactful that can be. So yeah, like on that point, what are some of the things, like how can people coordinate better? How can those that are listening, everybody do something? What can they do? How can we coordinate? What should be the things that we can do?
Yeah, so I'll try to be short. A lot of ideas and things, but yeah, one thing. So Ukraine is smaller than Russia, right? So yeah, and it's a full-blown military operation. So but the world is bigger than Russia. So it's important to like provide more and more actions to support Ukraine. So that's one thing. Second, it's very hard to concentrate on one thing, but you have to concentrate on one thing. You're seeing all these ideas, you're trying to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Okay, so I'll send a couple of emails. I will donate here, I will donate there. So it's very good to focus on one specific thing. So the thing that I try to focus on is now how to influence a big amount of supporters of the war inside Russia, how to create an alternative media so we can bring over the message to them through alternative channels, not through Russian mass media. That's no way. So how can we do that? And there are a bunch of life hacks that you can use, starting from calling your friend in Russia, asking about the position, if the position is right and the truth is there, encouraging him or her to talk to others, use all the psychology, negotiation skills, etc., that you've learning pitching your startup, and and just convince one or two people. That's already a big win. Imagine that couple of hundreds of thousands of people will convince one or two, or like doubt their opinion. Then, of course, if you have some communication skills, if you can do email outreach, if you can answer every email outreach that you get, typically you delete it, but if you answer, guys, thanks for the outreach, however, here's what's happening in Ukraine, and send them some ideas how to help. And I'm doing that, and everyone, SDRs, they respond. They say, we stay with Ukraine, we donated, we did something. So that's something that really works. So those small things everyone can do, or go to Google Maps in Russia, in smaller city, and put in reviews some links to the right information about what's happening in Russia, or in Russian language, of course, the proven source. So those like hacks are working. But then, of course, we need to unite and build more coordinated initiatives and kind of take some project management and implement the real projects of the information transfer to Russia.
Anything additional to some great actions there and things that people can be taking? As we know, and I think, and hopefully many of the listeners know that, and certainly from what we read, that there is this, propaganda within Russia, as we're led to, believe, which is true in terms of the information that they're sending out is not what the rest of the world is seeing. So, and hence why, Max is, advocating and advising that, we take these actions to really kind of tell the truth in terms of what's happening and really kind of get the truth to the Russian people. Val, anything in addition to kind of add in terms of what people can be doing now?
Yeah, so I totally agree that communication is what all world can do, and help Russians to see what's going on. And second thing, I guess it's about like investors and VCs, right? So we are like in the round before the war, right? And I guess we have a lot of cool IT companies in Ukraine, or with R&Ds in Ukraine. And what our investors, existing investors, doing us is thinking how to support us this time. And I guess this is what each of the VCs should think, how to support their portfolio companies that have roots or like offices in Ukraine. And if they kind of thinking about investment, so they can invest now in SaaS companies and help, because helping business, you actually helping a lot of families in Ukraine now. And this is like what we see in our chats with other IT companies. We have a lot of coordination inside like Telegram and Facebook groups, and IT companies helping each other with the relocation and with money, and of course the helping of like to army and with donations. But first they helping their families and their team members. And what can people with people with money can do, investors and VCs, is help, like just doing, I don't know, investment as convertible loans or like any others.
And that's not a donation. So you guys are investing in the team that are becoming stronger, more united, and more dedicated to the success of the country and of the business. It is an investment you should fight for. Be able to invest in these companies who are tough enough to go through these challenges. And also, like existing investors, what exactly they can do: offer accommodation in the countries where they are, how to kind of support the family members of teammates that can and want to evacuate. They can ask and provide any short-term loans, so salaries could be paid out earlier, for example, or invest if the company was looking for investment. So not putting a break. Okay, I will do no investments now. Let's see what happens. So that's bad approach. You should be fast and make decisions. You should be decisive, because it's very extraordinary situation. And it seems like, yeah, of course, yeah, but it's not COVID. It's next level thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think there's a lot of very important things here that those that are listening can do. And obviously, I mean, show your support and solidarity for Ukraine, help spread the truth, don't shy away from investment, support your portfolio companies, look to donations, where you can, making sure that everything's going to the right place. Yeah, so I think like people, those that are listening, SaaS founders, SaaS marketers, salespeople, investors, whoever you are kind of listening, like you're not helpless. You can help the Ukrainian people. You can help Ukrainian SaaS companies. And I think the time to act is not, it was yesterday, right? It's not in a couple of days, and to think about it. It's, to act yesterday, act now, after listening to this podcast, if you haven't already got behind this, because it's important to be I think fast in these matters, right? Anything additional to say, guys? Obviously the floor is yours.
So, one more idea, and I see that's happening in Finland right now. So local people with networks, with resources, are uniting in Telegram or other channels. Create, like, for example, I'm part of the group Finland for Ukraine, with people from immigration organizations, from the government, from organizations that support business. So you have to act, you have to lobby special, like, financial support to companies affected by this. You should coordinate and organize more structured aid, because it's very easy to organize aid at the beginning, but then how to make sure it's going to be delivered to actually where it's needed is very challenging. So it has to be in these groups, someone from Ukraine with the capabilities has to be also part of it, who can tell the has trusted sources to understand what is needed right now, where it is needed, and it can also be delivered. So create and join those initiatives in your countries and contribute like 1 hour a day. That will make a big impact, even 1 hour, instead of reading news and sending questions about how you guys doing. So we're not doing great.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, well, Max, Val, appreciate the not only very difficult times. These are the worst of times, kind of, right now. But hopefully, together, if we can coordinate, our communities together, we can make an impact, a positive impact. Certainly that's the hope. And really appreciate you coming on the podcast. It's extremely difficult. You've got a lot kind of, going on as an understatement kind of right now, but hopefully the message that you're bringing here, will be one that can be, impact really kind of positively. And that's the hope. So Max, Val, thank you so much. Look, really appreciate you coming on to the SaaS Revolution Show podcast. It's something a little bit different, but, as I say at the beginning, perhaps arguably the most important one that we've done to date, and hopefully this can make some change for the good. So thanks, guys, and obviously both stay safe and hope the team is okay.
Yeah, Alex, thanks for inviting us. And maybe just last thing, I just want to thank all the PromoRepublic teams and all the teams of other SaaS companies for staying calm where possible and doing what you're doing. And that's just amazing support from everywhere. And thanks in advance for all who decides to act after this podcast.
Thanks.
Yeah, please act, guys. Support Ukraine.
Yeah, please act. Okay. Thanks very much.